Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, the alleged serial bomber is in FBI custody, charged with attempted murder after a bloody shootout with police. Investigators believe he coordinated 3 terror attacks using homemade bombs, and we're now learning more details about how this young man, a U.S. citizen born in Afghanistan, may have become radicalized. Was he a lone wolf? Here's ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
It was mid-morning as surveillance cameras spot the New York region's most wanted man, Ahmed Khan Rahami. On the run, gun in hand, police in hot pursuit.
There's a guy shooting a gun, shots fired.
It all ends with Rahami wounded. You can see him in this photo lying on the ground. Officers also injured in the gun battle.
2 Linden police officers confronted Rahami. They did exchange gunfire. 1 officer was struck in the abdomen, but into his bulletproof vest.
Moments later, Rahami on a gurney, conscious, after allegedly terrorizing an entire region for 48 hours in a string of bombings that gripped the New York metropolitan area. It all began at 9:30 on a sunny Saturday morning in Seaside Park, New Jersey. Runners gathering for a charity run for the Marines. Then an explosion ripping apart this garbage can. The runners saved because the race had been delayed.
Shut down the run, get him out of the boardwalk.
Sources telling ABC News 3 pipe bombs tied together were to detonate at the start of the race. Hours later, in nearby New York City, another blast, shattering the joy of a Saturday night.
We heard like this huge explosion, like the ground shook and like windows shook.
There was big black clouds like smoke.
Surveillance videos like this one showing a man dropping something near the dumpster in the New York City neighborhood of Chelsea. This time, 29 people are injured. Mass casualties averted again because the bomb is placed under or near a dumpster, which absorbs a bulk of the shrapnel.
That dumpster is actually pretty strong, and the fact that it was able to contain the explosion, and then when the explosion did go, because the top is not as hard as the sides, it actually went up as opposed to out, where it could have hurt a lot more people, and it could have actually killed people in that area.
3 hours later, word a pressure cooker is found, just 4 blocks north. At first, authorities don't think the incidents are related, but then around 11 p.m., a major clue breaks the case wide open. An undetonated pressure cooker bomb, just like those used in the Boston Marathon bombings with deadly consequences.
I walk right by here and there's a pot on the street with wires sticking out of it, and think that it's probably a kid's science experiment.
A flip phone is attached. The pressure cooker device is a treasure trove of information.
A flip phone was used both for the first incident in New Jersey and the second incident in Chelsea. That's a clue that they were in fact connected.
The authorities, FBI, NYPD, were able to trace this phone very quickly.
Police are also able to lift a fingerprint from the pressure cooker. And the cell phone leads police to Rahami. A naturalized U.S. citizen born in Afghanistan, Rahami graduated from Edison High School in New Jersey in 2007, and according to a friend, was a young father.
Ahmed had a girlfriend who became pregnant, who was far along in her pregnancy at the prom, and I know they ended up giving birth to a baby girl.
He attended junior college for a year, then worked in his family's restaurant, First American Fried Chicken in Elizabeth, New Jersey. The restaurant became the source of conflict in the neighborhood.
We had some code enforcement problems and noise complaints.
The city imposed a 10 p.m. closing time for the restaurant, but Rahami's family filed a lawsuit claiming discrimination because they're Muslim. And there were other problems. Court records reviewed by ABC News show Rahami was accused of stabbing a relative in the leg 2 years ago, but a grand jury failed to indict him. And U.S. officials also tell ABC News that Rahami traveled to Afghanistan and Pakistan, later telling authorities he had a wife in Pakistan.
If he has made frequent trips to Afghanistan, then investigators, in particular the FBI, are going to have to figure out who he visited and what was the real purpose of his trips.
By Sunday night, police are locking in on Rahami as their primary suspect. 5 of Rahami's family members are detained on a New York City bridge. Police suspect they're headed to fly out of JFK Airport, but later the family is released. Then, just after 8:30 Sunday night, 2 men find a backpack near the train station in Elizabeth. It contains 5 pipe bombs, and as police attempt to disarm the bombs, one of the robots cuts the line, causing this explosion. Fear spreads across the New York region. Tension is particularly high because the UN General Assembly is in session, and leaders from around the world are arriving. And by now, the bomb scare has made its way into presidential politics.
Just before I got off the plane, a bomb went off in New York, and nobody knows exactly what's going on.
Obviously, we need to do everything we can to support our first responders.
Early Monday morning, police make the critical decision and release Rahami's name and photo, sending this text to everyone in New York City. Then police get a tip.
Approximately 10:30 this morning, the owner of a bar in Linden called about a suspicious person sleeping in the hallway of his establishment.
It was the alert eyes of Linden, New Jersey bar owner Harry Baines who made the stunning discovery.
I just spoke to him nicely, and it was my gut reaction.
Something told you to call the police.
Baines says after alerting police to Rahami's location, the confrontation began, ending in that hail of gunfire.
I think he had no plan and realized he was in deep trouble, took off, was tired, found a hallway to sleep in, and it sort of goes to his unsophistication, I think.
Sources tell ABC News Rahami is not cooperating, initially failing to even give his name. Tonight, they're searching his home. Sources telling ABC News police have found evidence of bomb making.
Based on the information we have now, we have every reason to believe this was an act of terror.
And they say there's no evidence that Rahami is part of a terror cell. But they are dissecting Rahami's life online, they say, to make sure he was acting alone. Police hope they have their man, praying now that the threat is over, but taking no chances. For Nightline, I'm Pierre Thomas in Washington.